Hello everyone, welcome from wherever you're joining me to today's installment of the Daf Yomi, Daf 37, Amud B, and we're doing Menachot. So let's dive straight in. Achilek Shonei Hacha Tivgugoles Tala Vachamona. Yet the firstborn of man you shall redeem. In addition, the addition of the word yet serves to differentiate and teach that there is a firstborn who is not redeemed, namely one that was ravaged. A child with two heads is like one that was ravaged, as he will certainly not live. The Gemara answers, here it is different. As the merciful one makes the redemption of the firstborn dependent on his skull, what does that mean? In other words, the verse, you shall take 5 shekels apiece by the skull, in Numbers 3:47, indicates that it is possible for a child to have more than one skull that requires redemption. As for the exclusion of the term yet, this does not apply to a child with 2 heads, as is currently given to Rashi. According to the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam that a child with 2 heads is a treifa, the commentaries explain that it is a Torah edict that the obligation of redemption applies to this child, despite the fact that it's treifa, and that's in the House HaKodesh. As it states, you shall take 5 shekels apiece by the skull, Numbers 3:47, which indicates that there is a case in which the firstborn with more than one skull must be redeemed. The Gemara returns to the discussion of the Braita. The master says on your arm, this is the bicep, and the term yad can mean either hand or arm. Therefore, the Gemara asks, from where do we derive this? As the sages taught on your arm, yadcha, this is the upper part of the arm. Do we say that it is the upper part of the arm, or is it only literally on your actual hand? So what does that mean? Or eino ela al yenacham mamish. The Mishnah in Tractate Megillah 24b indicates that this is not a mere theoretical suggestion, and there was a known custom for donating the flexures of the head on the forehead and flexures of the palm on the palm of the hand. Shemina calls this practice the way of the heretics, in reference to the practices of certain sects at the end of the Second Temple period and onward. In sects whose customs diverge to varying extents from the way of the sages may have even included the early Christians, i.e. on the palm of the hand. The Torah says, the fact is on the yad and the fact is on the head. Just as there with regard to the head, it means on the upper part of the head, as would be explained. So to here, it means in the upper part of the arm. Rabbi Eliezer says, this proof is not necessary, as the verse states, and it shall be for a sign for you upon your arm, Exodus 39, which teaches it should be a sign for you, but not a sign for others. One need not be particular about whether the flowers in the arm are visible or covered, according to the opinion of Imema. Nevertheless, one should cover them ab initio. By contrast, the flowers of the head should be clearly visible, although one who covers them has fulfilled the obligation after the mitzvah after the fact. Mishnah Berurah. The Ari maintains that it is proper to cover the flowers of the head as well. 27:11, and in the comment of Ma, one must not flowers in the arm in a place where they are not seen by others. This is the arm, which is usually covered, whereas the hand is usually visible. Rabbi Yitzchak says this proof is not necessary, and the verse states, therefore you shall place these words in your heart and in your soul, and you shall bind them, Deuteronomy 11:18. This teaches that placing the words I done reflected shall be opposite the heart on the bicep. Sima keneged halev. Placing the words shall be opposite the heart. When done in the flexion of the arm, one tilts them slightly inward toward the body, so that when he bends his arm downward, the phylacteries are opposite his heart. Fulfillment of the virtue, Deuteronomy 6:6. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. And that's the Rambam Sefer Haveh Sefer Torah 42 Shulchan Aruch 27:1. The Rambam later, Bachir and Rav Aha, son of Rav Avia, would direct the placement of phylacteries on the arm and done them opposite his heart. Rav Ashi was sitting before Mema, and there was a cut in the sleeve covering Mema's arm, and as a result, his phylacteries were visible, as they were not covered by a garment. Rav Ashi said to Mema, doesn't the master hold that the phylacteries shall be a sign for you, but not a sign for others? And Mema said to him, this does not mean the phylacteries must be hidden. Rather, this was stated in order to teach that they must be done in a place that is a sign for you, i.e. the bicep, which is generally not seen, but it does not matter that if in practice the phylacteries are visible. With regard to the statement of the bicep, the phylacteries of the head are done on the upper part of the head, and there's a picture here. The one asks, from where we derive this other section between your eyes, Exodus 13:9. This is the upper part of the head. Do we say that it is the upper part of the head, or is it literally between your eyes? As it is stated here between your eyes, and it is stated there, you shall not cut yourselves. No, she made boldness between your eyes for the dead, Deuteronomy 14:1. Just there, the phrase between your eyes is referring to a place on the upper part of the head, as there is a place where one can render himself bold by moving his hair. So too, the place where the flux is done is on the upper part of the head, a place where one can render oneself bold. Rabbi Yehuda says this proof is not necessary, as the Torah says, "Don flux is on the arm and don flux is on the head," just as there was the God flux on the arm is referring to a place that is fit to become ritually impure with only one type of leprous mark, that is of the skin. So to here, with regard to the flux of the head, is referring to a place where it is fit to become ritually impure with only one type of leprous mark, that is the place of the hair. In Leviticus 13:29-37, Rabbi Yehuda continues, it says to exclude the area which is literally between your eyes, as there is flesh and the hair, the eyebrows present there, and therefore there is a possibility of leprosy through the growth of a white hair, which is impure according to halacha of leprosy of the skin. See Leviticus 13:3, and there is also a possibility of leprosy through the growth of a yellow hair, which is impure according to the halacha of leprosy of the head or the beard. In 13:30, the Mishnah teaches with regard to the 4 ritual fringes on a garment. The absence of each prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah, while the others, as the 4 of them, constitute one mitzvah. Rabbi Yishmael says the 4 of them are 4 discrete mitzvot, and the absence of one does not prevent the fulfillment of the rest. The Gemara asks, what is the difference between the opinions of the first Tana and Rabbi Yishmael? Rabbi Yosef said the difference between their opinions is with regard to a linen sheet with 1 ritual fringes that has fewer than 4 ritual fringes. The Tana maintains that since one is not performing a mitzvah, he may not wrap himself in a sheet due to the prohibition of the various kinds, i.e. the prohibition against wearing clothes made of a mixture of wool and linen threads. Conversely, Rabbi Yishmael permits one to wrap himself in it, as each ritual fringe is a separate mitzvah, and the mitzvah of ritual fringes overrides the prohibition against wearing the various kinds. But Ahina said the difference between their opinions is with regard to a cloak with 5 corners. So what's this talking about? The ritual fringes applies to a garment that has more than 4 corners, and one should place 4 ritual fringes on the 4 most distant corners. Halach is according to the opinion of the first Tana, explained by Ahina, Sefer Hava Hilchot Tzitzit 3:3, the Mishnah there, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 10:1, and the Bor Hagwa there, is derived that a cloak of this kind of ritual fringes, see 43b, but it is unclear whether ritual fringes must be placed on each corner. If each fringe is a discrete mitzvah, then the obligation applies to the 5th corner as well, but if it is one mitzvah, that applies only to 4 of the corners of this garment. But if it is only one mitzvah, then it applies only to 4 of the corners of this garment. Ravina said the difference between their opinions is with regard to the opinion of Rav Huna. The absence of any of the 4 ritual fringes on a garment prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah with the others. Therefore, one who wears a garment with fewer than 4 ritual fringes and walks into public men on Shabbat is liable to bring a sin offering for carrying a burden into the public men on Shabbat. The reason for this is that the fringes are not considered part of the garment because they were not afflicted in accordance with halacha, and the owner does not intend to discard them as he wishes to complete the number of ritual fringes in order to fulfill a mitzvah. Surely, according to the opinion of the first Tana explained by Rava, Sefer Zemanim Hilchot Shabbat 19:20, Shulchan Aruch 13:1, 301, 38. As Rav Huna says, one who goes out unwittingly into the public men Shabbat with a 4-cornered cloak that does not have all of the requisite ritual fringes attached to its corners is liable to bring a sin offering, because the remaining fringes are not an integral part of the garment. Since they do not enable the wearer to fulfill the mitzvah, they are considered a burden, which may not be carried into the public men Shabbat. The first Tana agrees with this ruling, whereas Rabbi Yishmael maintains that since each corner with ritual fringes is the fulfillment of a mitzvah, one is not liable to bring a sin offering due to carrying a Shabbat for wearing it in the public domain. Sheisha, so Bavidi said, one who cuts the corner of his garment, what does that mean? If one had a garment of 4 corners and he cut one of them diagonally so they form 2 corners, It is considered a garment with 5 corners, to which the obligation of ritual fringes applies. This halacha in the context opinion of Rav Sheisha, son of Ravidi, Rambam Sefer Haveh HaChatzitz 3:3, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 10:2. Rashi explained that he damaged the corner of the garment so that it appeared to have 2 corners. Alternatively, he cut the corner diagonally, citing Rashi in an effort to have a garment of only 3 corners, which would be exempt from ritual fringes to read. And they show a picture here according to Rav's opinion. On page 232, if you have the same edition that I have, the Steinsaltz has not done anything of consequence with regard to exempting the garment from the obligation of ritual fringes, as he has rendered it a cloak with 5 corners, to which the obligation of ritual fringes applies. Rav Marshal Shia similarly says, one who ties his garment, if unfolded the 4 corners of his robe and then tied or sewed them so that it appears as though he cut them off and it has no corners, the obligation of ritual fringes nevertheless applies to this garment, in accordance with the opinion of Rav Moshiach and Rav Dimya of Nardea, Orach Chaim 10:3. Rashi explains that one folded his garment into 2 and tied the ends, thereby creating 2 corners at the fold. Rav Moshiach is saying that if he places ritual fringes on the place of the folds, he has not fulfilled the mitzvah, as they are not considered the corners of the garment, because the knot will be untied. On the following Omen, Rashi suggests an alternative interpretation: one made a knot in each of the corners of the garment so that it would not have corners at all, and would therefore be exempt from the mitzvah of ritual fringes. And a consequence with regard to exempting the garment from the obligation of ritual fringes, as he has rendered it a cloak with 5 corners, ritual fringes applies. Sorry, that's a repetition. The garment who ties the garment, according to Rashi's second explanation, has not done anything of consequence with regard to exempting the garment from the obligation of ritual fringes. For the reason is considered as though the garment is untied, since the knot can be loosened at any time. And we learned likewise in the Mishnah in Kalim 26:4, all bound leather jugs. And there's a picture of a man carrying a jug made of whole hide. I.e., those whose bottoms are not sewn but tied are ritually pure. They are susceptible to ritual impurity. This is because they are not considered receptacles, as is not to be untied except for the leather jugs of Arabs, who would tie them with a permanent knot. Avdimi of Nardea similarly says, one who sews his garment. It's a picture here of sewing according to Rashi's first and second explanation. As in the previous case, here too Rashi explains that one folded his robe and sewed it up. If so, the novelty of the statement of Avdimi of Nardea is that the same halacha applies to sewing as to tying a knot. Nevertheless, as a Bible Society in 41a explicitly states that this is not a halacha, Rashi on the following Omen rejects this interpretation. Instead, he states that this man folded up the 4 corners and sewed them together in order to exempt the garment from the mitzvah of ritual fringes. I folded over the long garment and sewed the edges together, and there is anything consequence regarding the obligation of ritual fringes, and he must place ritual fringes on the original 4 corners. The reason is that if it is so that he does not need the folded part, which is why he is sewing it, let him cut and throw it away. And the Mishnah teaches that Rabbi Shmuel says the 4 of them are 4 discrete mitzvot, and the absence of one does not prevent fulfillment of the rest. Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says the halacha in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel. The Gemara states, but the halacha is not in accordance with his opinion. The Gemara relates, Ravina was walking behind Rav Asi on Shabbat of the festival. Shamsa the Rigla. Normally the sages would lecture, but only before the students of their academies. The public lecture during the month of Adon Elul, called Yarchei Kala, were designed for Torah scholars who come from afar. Shabbatot of festivals were different, as the entire community would gather to lecture about the halacha of the festival with the most formal scholars of the academies of the Exalach. Therefore, a great mass of people assembled on this special Shabbatot, and the lectures were exceptionally crowded. Each Shabbatot was the Shabbat before the festival, and the Shabbat during the festival. See Sukkah 26a. The seven instances of related in the Talmud with regard to the behavior of the sages during these events. When the corner of Ma Barav Ashi's garment on which his ritual fingers were hanging tore, and yet Ravina did not say anything to him. When he arrived at Marav Ashi's house, Ravina said to him, "Back there along the way, the corner tore." Barav said to him, "If you would have told me then, I would have thrown off the garment there. As once one of the ritual fingers is torn, no one is to perform with the rest, and it's prohibited to walk in the form of the men Shabbat wearing such a garment." This is according to the opinion. The first time I hold disagree with the ruling of Rabbi Shmuel. Always a difficulty, but then the masters say, greatest human dignity as it overrides the prohibition in the Torah. When the prohibition against carrying on Shabbat and holding the main, that being the case, why would you remove the garment in public? The Gemara answers, Rav Shaba interpreted that statement before Rav Kahana. Just finished the next line, turn to the next. He stated this with regard to the prohibition of you shall not deviate from the left or the right of that which they tell you. Deuteronomy 17:11. The prohibition of rabbinic law is overridden by human dignity, but not a prohibition by Torah. Therefore, Barav Asi would remove the garment had he known about the tear. I wish you a very good day. Peace and all the best. Bye.